Oh yeah, that is a thing of beauty. Anyways, Yo Coot here, coming back at you with another exciting video. Italian meat sauce. What is it actually called? I have no idea. It's just Italian meat sauce. Okay, so here's what I did. I ground up some beef. If you remember from a video I did a few weeks ago, basically ground up my own ground beef and then stuck it in the freezer. Basically today I took it out of the freezer, defrosted it, fried up the ground beef. What I did was I poured off most of the drippings, right, most of the oil and all that, left just about 2 tablespoons in the pan. Then what I did was I cooked up some onions and some carrot. If you can see the onion right there, the carrot's right there. Cooked that up until the onions were basically translucent, not entirely fully cooked through, but just translucent, or near translucent as possible. Okay, then what I did was I added some garlic, about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic in there. See, garlic. And then what I did was I put in, I would say maybe like this much of anchovy paste. Cook that a little bit just to let the anchovy paste add some saltiness, some savoriness, some umami, if that's what you want to call it, or whatever the case may be. Then what I did was I put the ground beef back in the pan, let that cook for another minute or two. I'm using an Oxo Good Grips 12-inch non-stick pan. You could do this in a stainless steel or in a regular cookware pan. Just know that you're going to get that stickiness, and then you got to deglaze and blah, 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 and whatever. It's basically the same process in the non-stick. The difference is cleanup is a heck of a lot easier. I will put links down below in the description, also in the comment section, also on my Amazon storefront. Okay, so basically now you've got the ground beef in there with the onions, the carrots, and the garlic, and the that little bit of anchovy paste. Then I seasoned, right? I tasted everything, and I added salt, I added pepper, I added a little bit of thyme, right? Typically, in most pasta sauces that I do, I think you'll find this true of a lot of old school Italian traditional, they do not use oregano in their pasta sauce. They use oregano in their pizza sauce. So that's the difference between pizza sauce and pasta sauce, is the pizza sauce has oregano and a whole bunch of other things. We'll get into that in another video. Anyways, once that beef, right, ground beef, onion, carrot, garlic, anchovy paste, thyme, salt and pepper, cooked a little bit, right, just to marinate all those flavors. I tasted again, made sure I had enough salt. Then what I did was I added a can of diced tomatoes. I like Hunt's, Hunts, Hunt's tomatoes. The diced tomatoes, just threw the whole can in as is. I did not put in any extra liquid or water, which you'll see a lot of people doing. There's no reason for it. Look at how much water is already coming out of these diced tomatoes just as is, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this another quick stir. And as you see from the beginning of the video to now, I've already released about 2, 3, 4, 5 tablespoons of liquid from the diced tomatoes into the sauce. So there's no reason to add extra water. All you're doing is just thinning down the sauce. And as you can see right here, this is pretty damn good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this a nice little stir, right? Mix everything together. I'll probably give it like one more taste. And then what I'll do is I'll cover it very loosely with like one of those screens. You can use something like this, right? This is like a silicone screen. This one was from, I always forget the name of the company, Becken. I think it's Becken. So you can use one of these to just cover it while it cooks away, because you want the tomatoes to cook and fully homogenize, right? Fully become incorporated and make this one whole entity of a nice sauce, right? And then what I'll do is, somewhere kind of like towards the end, I'd say, like kind of like just before I'm ready to, get my pot, like I'll shut off the heat, get my boiling water to boil my pasta. Today I'm going to make ravioli, that kind of a vibe. What I'll do is I'll hit it with about, I'd say about a tablespoon of basil that I cut up and chopped up, and I already did this ahead of time, which is totally fine. By the way, if you're wondering proportions, quantities, that kind of thing, what's in here is about 1 large carrot. There's a quarter of a large white onion. You could use red onion if you want to add more flavor. There was roughly about, I'd say maybe like a half a pound of ground beef. Then I used about 4 garlic cloves. I like garlic. If you don't like garlic, you want to leave it out, that's totally fine. And then in terms of the diced tomato, basically there was, what's the size of this can? It's a 14.5 ounce can of diced tomato. So there you go. So anyways, that's basically what the sauce is. This is going to cook until I see most of that liquid kind of just not completely evaporate, but kind of get to the point where when you move it around with a spoon or with a spatula or whatever. By the way, if you are going to use utensils in here, get the ones that are silicone tipped or otherwise wood or nylon, anything but metal. You don't want to use a metal spoon in here as you're scraping, because that metal is going to scrape up all that protective coating on here, which makes this non-stick. So if you're going to use anything, use the silicone. See how these are silicone tipped? Use these. These are Oxo Good Grips. I like that company, Oxo Good Grips, a lot. And I'll put links down below, etc., etc. So this is all coming together pretty nicely, like in my opinion. You know, it's not exactly like a hearty sauce that you boil for 5 hours. You know what? If I had 5 hours, I would totally do it. But this is quick Italian cooking. So we're at 5 minutes now of the point after I put the tomatoes in. I would say this is pretty much ready for the cover, which I'm going to cover this, turn the heat down. Right now I've been on like less than medium heat the whole time. So I'm going to turn the heat down, something like this, like just between medium and low, just shy on the low side. So more on the lower side than the medium side. I'm going to turn this down, let this go for about 10 minutes, cover it, right? Like so, and just let it go for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, what I'll do is I'll shut the heat off, throw my basil in, and then retest the flavor again if it needs more salt or it needs more pepper or whatever. The last most important thing is before, or actually at the same time that I throw my basil in, because at that point I'm about 5-10 minutes from serving with the boiled pasta and whatever, what I'll do is I'll hit it with some good quality olive oil. So try to get a nice, decent, like Italian extra virgin olive oil if you can. I transfer from the big containers to the smaller containers, just makes it a lot easier. You know, or you could use something like this. This was a company that reached out to me a while back. I think it's been like 4 or 5 months now, but Gaia, I still have this because I'm savoring this. But this would be like a finishing oil. This would be something that you put in like after the heat's off, just before you're ready to plate and serve up. Use a good quality olive oil. It just kind of helps to carry all those flavors from what you're tasting to your taste buds, right? To make it easy. Anyways, if you like what you're seeing, I did put links down below in the description, also in the comment section. Let me get this covered. I'm just going to let this go for about 10 minutes. So links are in the description and comment section, also on my Amazon storefront. I'm the Old Coot, and I'll catch you all in the next exciting video. So remember, just as a final finishing thing, is this is going to go for 10 minutes on the lower side of the spectrum. After the 10 minutes, I'm going to shut off the heat entirely, put my basil in, put in maybe, I would say a couple teaspoons of the olive oil, just drizzle it in, mix it all in. By that point, my water should be boiled. My pasta should be in the water, and the pasta probably takes, you know, if it's fresh pasta, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. If it's dehydrated pasta, maybe takes a little bit longer, 5-10 minutes, something like that. But by that point, even if this cools down a little bit, it's not going to cool down to the point where it's time to turn on the heat again and restart it. You could if you wanted to. If you wanted, the best thing to do is after your pasta boils, strain your water, take your pasta, put it in this pan. Then you can turn your heat back on and just let that pasta to finish to cook a little bit in the pan. You could also add a little bit of the pasta water, maybe a few tablespoons of the pasta water to this. The starch in there from the boiling pasta that was in the water, right, the water that you use to boil the pasta will help to tighten up the sauce and get it really saucy. Then last step is, if you like cheese, drizzle with some cheese, pecorino, romano, parmesan. You could use some fresh ricotta from Italy if you want. You know, just saying, I had someone bring this back for me. You can do whatever you want. But anyways, I'm the Old Coot, and I'll catch you all on the next exciting pasta video.